Hey guys, so I said I was going to go live today. I'm a little behind, sorry, to talk about time blocking and how I time block to maximize the amount of time that I have during the week to get all the things done. So I talked about it a little bit earlier this week, and I had a few people say that they would be interested in hearing how I time block. So I thought I would show you. I am a paper and pen kind of gal. This is how I time block. Some people use electronic versions. I do not. I think some people use like Google Calendar, things like that. I have to be paper. I'm very kind of visual. In front of me, open it up, I can see it. So I use a planner. I use the Passion Planner. I love it. It can fit in my personal schedule. It can fit in my legal schedule. It can fit in my business schedule. It has all the things that allow me to be able to basically keep myself organized throughout the week. I have also just my diary here. This is like my chicken scratch as things come up. I throw it on here. This is my kind of daily go-to to keep myself organized, and it literally has appointments, calls, little notes for myself throughout the week. This is kind of where I write everything that's coming up, but this planner, the Passion Planner, is where I actually time block. So I'm going to kind of tell you my tips on how I block my time. It's difficult sometimes when you don't have it all in front of you to really recognize how much time you have during the day to do all the things. I think a lot of the time we look at what we do during the day kind of at the end of the day or at the end of the week and say, oh my God, I didn't get anything done. I have no time. I can't ever get anything done. But we're really not doing an audit of what we're actually doing during the day. We never sit back and say, but what did I actually do today? Because what I started to do is when I started to kind of audit my time, I recognized that a lot of my time was spent doing things that really didn't need to be done. I would get lost in my phone, scrolling Facebook, scrolling Instagram. Like I could spend an hour and a half on my phone and then look at the clock and go, oh my God, I just spent an hour and a half literally doing nothing. Or the amount of TV that I was watching. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like watching TV, but I just would get lost in TV show after TV show, and you watch one and then it flows into the next and then it flows into the next. And then I would go to bed too late, and I realized that I got nothing done during that time. So that's why I had to start time blocking. I really had to start figuring out, okay, what time do I have in the day to do what? So how do I do that? The very first thing that I do is I write down my workout time. It is a non-negotiable for me, and I write it into my schedule every day. Even though I've kind of grown this habit, I know what time I work out every day, but I write that down in my schedule every single day to make sure that I am sticking to that time. I treat it like a business meeting, guys. So I am going to go ahead and write my workout in my calendar every morning at 6 a.m. because that's what time I work out. And if it's written down, I'm more inclined to do it. So Monday to Friday, I work out at 6 a.m. Saturdays, I work out at 7 a.m. Sundays are a rest day, so I will not put a workout in on Sunday. So that's already in. That's going to be done. That's my workout time. It is like a business meeting. It is in my calendar. If it's in my calendar, I'm going to do it. And yes, I do work out at 6 a.m. When I started to time block, I realized that there were periods of time in my day that I could actually be maximizing, and I was spending them sleeping. I said this in my stories this morning. I like sleeping in. It's not that I don't value sleeping in. I like it. But when I have things that need to get done, I can either say I don't have the time, or I can recognize that there are hours there that I'm sleeping that I don't need to be sleeping. I can actually get up earlier, and sometimes that means going to bed earlier. Sometimes I don't get to bed earlier, but I still get up and I still make sure that my workout is in, because that actually creates energy for me. So I put in my workout. That's already in. That's a non-negotiable. That is being done. The next thing I do is I pull out, this is where I kind of write assignments. Oh my goodness, that I write appointments that come up. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to write in any calls that I have. So for my business, we have team calls, we have training calls. So I'm going to write those in because, again, those are like business meetings for me. So they need to go in my calendar so that I don't skip them. So I'm going to write those in first. And I'm going to write in any client meetings, mediations, discoveries, anything that I have for my legal job, so that those are already blocked in as well. So those are things that I can't miss. If my kids have any appointments, if I have any appointments, if my husband has any appointments, those also go in here. That way they are not missed. Those are things that can't be missed, right? So I want to make sure that I block those out so that I don't put anything else in those times. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then that makes sure that I don't miss these things and I don't plan things during those times. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes things come up, you guys. That's the thing about time blocking. It's not always going to be perfect. There are things that come up that are going to threaten the times that you have in here, but really, and it show you how to like build in buffer times as well. But it's not always going to be perfect. So you have to be like, okay, this is not going to be perfect. It's okay. That was a problem for me too. If I wasn't sticking to my time blocking, then I would get frustrated. So just be patient with it. Okay. I have a lot actually this week, so bear with me for a minute. Okay, I think that is all. This appointment for my legal job is going to be the probably majority of the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put a little arrow down to make sure that it is covering the majority of the day. Just so that I know that I don't take up that time with anything else. Okay, so my appointments are in, my calls are in. You'll see that I have like still so much time left during the day. So the next thing that I will do is I will actually block out, I know this sounds strange, but I will block out my lunches and my dinners because sometimes when we don't see that on here, then we're kind of in the middle of our day and we're like, oh, I got to eat. But I had all this stuff I have to do and I don't have time to like grab lunch now. This is like a direct reminder to me to say, okay, you need to go eat lunch now. And it works when I'm in the office, which is great. But it also works when I'm working from home, because when you're working from home, you get lost in all the distractions of, because my son is still homeschooling. So I have him and there's distractions with him because he wants his lunch and I have to help him make his lunch. And then I have to have my lunch. And then my husband has also been home because he hasn't been able to work. So he's always there and he's coming in and he's like, Tara, I need you to do this. Tara, watch this video. Tara, I'm like, I'm trying to get stuff done. So all the distractions, at least when I have it blocked in here, then I know, okay, you know what? I have to go eat now. The key again, you guys, is actually like referring to this. So don't just block it and leave it. Like, you got to actually refer to it. So I'm going to block out my lunches. I usually will eat my lunches like around 12:30 or so. And what I tend to do during the work week, because I am working from home, my legal job, is I will usually lump in some business time to work on my business during that time, because I'm on a lunch break from my work. So I will take that time to make and eat lunch, but I will do some business activities at the same time to get those kind of out of the way. Because it helps, right? I'm not leaving my house to eat lunch. I can't. My son's here. And when I'm in the office, I would just eat lunch at my desk and get my business activities done during that time. I don't have to go out and have lunch. If for whatever reason I'm out of the office or have to be out of the house for whatever reason, then I will just choose to fit my business activities in at a different time of the day. But because I've already written my appointments in here that have already been scheduled, I know what those days are. So I know that on Wednesday, I am not going to be able to potentially take a scheduled lunchtime, or I might not know when that's going to happen. So, because it's not dictated by me. So I know that I'm not going to be able to do my business activities during that time frame. So I'm going to make sure that I have other times during the day that I can do those activities. So lunch and dinner are going to get planned out. I'm a little bit loose and fancy free on the weekends, because it doesn't always look the same way. But I do schedule it in. It's just sometimes on weekends I don't stick to it. But I have a little bit more time on weekends anyway. I usually eat dinner pretty consistently at about 5:30 every night. So that goes in here, and that's become a habit for me. So it's just something that's like automatic. That's what time we eat dinner. On weekends, we usually eat a little bit later. We usually eat around 6 o'clock on weekends. So that's in there to make sure that I'm actually eating. So what do I do next? The next thing I do is I fit in my times that I work my legal business. So I actually block that in here, and I really try to intentionally stick to it, because when you're at home, it's so easy to get distracted and swayed away from that time. So I'm going to put that time in here as well. And that's just more of a block. So I usually will do a few hours in the morning, take my lunch, and then work my business. And then I'll go back to my legal work in the afternoon. If I were in the office, I would be taking those breaks. I'd be chatting with my staff. So I take a little bit longer at lunch as opposed to kind of scheduled breaks throughout the day, because then that gives me a period of time that I can actually do a few things at once. It's easier to do that at home. It's not as easy to do that in the office. So when I'm in the office, I have to kind of break it up into different times of the day because there's a lot more going on. I'm getting consistent phone calls. My staff are coming in to ask me questions. Now it's just kind of via email, so there aren't as many interruptions. It's a little bit easier to kind of block that time. So I'm going to, I forgot one call. Okay. It's in now. Okay. I also have to be mindful of when my daughter has her dance classes, because we have to get her there. So I have to make sure that I don't put anything in the times that she actually has to be at the studio, because then she won't get there. This will help me to be able to guide my husband in terms of like, hey, I cannot bring her on this day. You need to be available to bring her, or I can make other arrangements. Thankfully, I have a community of people who could step up if for whatever reason my husband couldn't be available. When he opens up his club again, that might be a little bit harder because he's going to be out of the house. So I have an incredible neighbor. My mom, my sister, they're all amazing. So I could arrange with them ahead of time. It takes a village, you guys. And that took me a really long time. To realize that I don't have to do everything myself. I can ask for help. That was super hard for me, like really hard for me, because I'm just so used to doing everything on my own, and that was not serving me. So I had to recognize that I really need to be mindful of the people that are there that can help me do these things. Otherwise, it's not possible to get stuff done. You can't get everything done that you want to get done if you have big dreams and big goals. When it was just my legal practice, it was a little bit easier. I would work at night, but it was a little bit easier. I could do a little bit more. But now that I've started my business, I've really had to factor that in, because I have to devote time to my business if I want it to grow, which means that I need to ask for help. I need to rely on other people to help me when I need it. And I have an incredible team who step up when I need them as well. So asking for help is huge. Don't have to do it all by yourself. That's part of the realization, right? Like when you're blocking your time, if you realize that you're just like, oh my God, that day is so full, there's no way I'm going to be able to get everything done, then know that either something's got to give. So you have to look at what's important to you, what has to give on that particular day. Ooh. And then I just got a weird request. I don't know what that looks like. I'm so not technologically advanced, you guys. but something's got to give. So you got to look at your calendar and say, okay, this can go to a different time. This can go to a different day. This can be skipped altogether. I can do it next week. But that's why I write my non-negotiables in first, because those don't get moved. Okay, so far I have my legal work planned in. So now I'm going to figure out where are the pockets of time that I can work my business. And I'm going to factor those in now. So my calendar, again, so you can see it's getting pretty full just based on my full-time job, right? So there are still periods of blank time. My business requires me to work as much as I want to work to build my business. So I can spend half an hour on it a day. I can spend 3 hours on it a day. How I build it is up to me. If I don't want to build it very quickly, then I spend half an hour or an hour on it a day. If I want it to grow, I have to find those pockets. And that means sometimes at night I am working. Sometimes my time, like for example, on Monday, I have from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock free. I could sit down on my couch and sit on couch and watch TV and do nothing. Or I can say, I'm going to take an hour on Monday and I'm going to work my business on Monday night, right? So it really is, when you see it laid out in front of you, it really is easy to see. Like all of my non-negotiables are in here now. All of like my legal job, mandatory, have to do it, have to earn my paycheck. All of my appointments, everything is in here that is like a non-negotiable right now. So I do have blocks of time during my day that I can actually visually see, oh, I've got actually a lot of time there where I can work my business, right? But if you're not writing it down, your brain is just going to think of all the things you have to do, and that's where you're going to think you have no time. So I can block in, oh my gosh, if I have to clean my house, if I want to organize my closets, which has been on my list of things to do forever and a day, but it keeps getting pushed because I have other things that I want to do instead. I have other more important things that come up. That's not urgent. I can do that later. So I can block that out, right? I can actually block out grocery shopping time. If you are feeling, I don't like to use the word overwhelmed, but if you're feeling that overwhelmed feeling where you just have way too much going on, then block it out. Say, I'm going to go grocery shopping. Oh, I've got some time on Saturday afternoon. I'm actually going to put grocery shopping in there so that I don't put anything else in there. And I have that time. I can see it. It's visual. Then I don't have to get overwhelmed about it, right? I know that that's when I'm going to go grocery shopping. Perfect. I have that set out. Today in my calendar, I blocked out time to clean my house. That's going to shift a little bit. I'm going to move that to this morning because we wanted to get out of the house this afternoon. So I'm going to just shift that. That's okay. I blocked it out for a different time. Things have changed. We made a decision to do something else. So I'm going to actually just change that up. But I actually put it in my block, in my calendar, so that I know, okay, yeah, I don't need to stress about it. That's the time I'm going to clean my house. So that's how I do it, you guys. I'm just going to finish filling in when I'm going to work my business, but I just want to show you guys don't need to see that, but I'm just going to show you what I do to kind of keep it visual for me. I highlight things, and everything has kind of its own color, because then I know, okay, what is personal, what is business, what is legal. It just kind of helps keep me focused. So anything personal, I highlight in yellow. I'm a bit of an organizational person. Anything legal, I do in pink. And then anything that is a call, so my business calls are orange. So I'm not going to do them all, but any business calls are orange. It just helps me to see what is happening during the day. And any business work, so anything that is business related, which I haven't actually kind of put in yet, that's not already a call, is blue. So this will be my pockets of time where I actually work my business. I do planning. I have calls with my team. That would actually probably be orange, but I work on planning out my groups. Any planning time for my business, all will be blue. So I'll be able to look at my calendar at any given time and see, where am I spending my time? That's also helpful for you guys as well. If you're thinking about, I don't spend enough intentional time with my family. If you have a sense of what you want to be doing, do you want to be spending more time with your family? Do you feel like you need to give more time to your business? Do you feel like you spend way too much time on your business? Seeing it all blocked out is going to help you identify where you're spending the majority of your time, and then help you identify how you will shift to fix that. If I look at my calendar at any given time and it's all blue and very little yellow, then I know I need to make shifts and have some more personal stuff, more family time on my calendar. So the following week, I'll shift that and I'll say, no, I need to shift this. There's way too much time being spent on my business or my legal job or whatever it is, and I need to make sure that I'm blocking out more time for my family. So seeing it in color kind of helps me do that. So this was this past week. So you'll kind of see that it's a little bit of everything. Saturdays and Sundays are a lot of family time. Like, I try to get my business stuff done in the morning, and it's a lot of family time at night. So that's what it looks like once it's completed. But you can see it helps me, and there's a really good balance of personal stuff, legal stuff, business calls. You can't ever achieve full balance at all, ever. When you are, at least that's my opinion, when you're a mom and have a job and have a business and have a husband who's all over the place, it's never going to be balanced. But this is as close as I can come to spreading myself out in such a way that I allow myself to be doing all the things that I want to be doing. One of the things that I said I was going to talk about was like buffer times. So I used to think that every single line on this calendar had to be filled out. It doesn't have to be. You can have blank time, half an hour here, an hour there. That can be buffer time. That can be where you fill in things that happen to come up. Or if something came up and distracted you during your blocked time for that particular activity, and then you have to push that activity, when you have buffer time, it's okay. I have extra time this evening. You don't have to get stressed about the fact that you didn't get done what you wanted to get done in the time that you blocked for it. You know that you have time later on in the day that can act as a buffer for you. That, oh no, I can fill that in later. It's okay. I didn't have time to work my business at this time. That's okay. I've got that buffer time later. Make sure that you actually block in buffer time for you to, again, eliminate that overwhelm. Or if you want to sit down and watch TV for an hour, you have those buffer times so you know when that can be, right? So hopefully that was helpful for you guys in terms of blocking your time. I know that it has helped me immensely to keep myself focused and to really understand that I had more time in the day than I thought I had. I had time for me. I just had to create it. We don't find time in our lives, we create it. So I'm going to finish creating my schedule for next week. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions, just DM me. If something didn't make sense, or if you just want some more detail about something in particular, just DM me. I'm happy to ask any questions that you might have. Otherwise, I'm signing off to finish blocking my week. Thanks for joining me, you guys.